On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
There's a lot of news in the world today.
News that might surprise you, startle you, upset, or maybe impress.
News that's not always for the faint of heart.
That's why the man who failed his way to success, Heath Oaks, is stepping up.
Tackling today's headlines with ignorance on fire in a way only a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with your host, Heath Oaks.
I feel super psychedelic in here with these purple neon lights and everything, like we're back in like the 70s, just like getting all crazy. Like if we had a disco ball, it would make this 100% complete, don't you think?
It's a good look, yeah.
Yeah. We got Robert in the show today, as you guys know.
How's it going?
You feeling psychedelic?
A little. I was really hoping he would go with the red he was talking about, make you look like a supervillain. But
oh, that would be cool, especially with the Black Panther release. Do like the red and black and like, you know, the big new Marvel Studios superhero.
I'm afraid with the TVs and the big table, you're going to end up looking like Dr. Evil or something.
Well, this whole table looks like some kind of robot table with
all the mic arms and cameras hanging out.
He may even look like kind of like a Christmas tree. He's got this beautiful green suit on with all the red. He may look.
That's green. It's green like money.
It's green like gotcha. I like money.
It's green like money. I love that.
So if you guys don't know, you can go to YouTube and look at the show, and you can see what we're talking about with the purple neon lights and all. Yesterday, Robert and I went out with his oldest son and all their friends out to this airsoft and did airsoft, and I felt like I was like commando warrior guy, like barreling through the mud and falling as I was trying to put cones up and getting shot.
Hey, y'all should have saw Heath run out there across that bridge. I wish I had a video of it. I mean, he doesn't realize he's 30 years old yet, so he doesn't move as well as he did 10 years ago. It was hilarious.
And you got the cones out in the middle of the deal, so the object is get yours up and put theirs down. But going out there is like suicide almost, because you're going to get blasted.
How does that work? Because I played paintball, never airsoft, and with paintball you get shot once you're out.
Same thing.
Pretty much the same thing.
So same rules. Got it.
Some of the kids don't call themselves out. It kind of pisses you off a little bit.
Yeah, because paintball, it busts on you. You can't
you're gonna know you're out.
Right, there's no getting out of that. It's very clear you got shot.
Yeah, I mean, but my thing was like, do you want to keep getting shot? Because if you got shot, you probably can get unloaded.
Yeah, by the second game,
hit.
we figured out, if you don't say hit, we're just going to keep shooting you.
Well, I mean, airsoft arguably doesn't hurt as much.
It doesn't hurt as much as paintball.
Hey, you get popped a couple extra times. That's the name of the game.
I'm gonna tell you, airsoft's fun though. We're gonna do that more often.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a good time. Yeah.
Well, that was always the rule in paintball: is if you don't call yourself out, you're just gonna get lit up until you do.
You'll eventually quit.
You better stop.
Yes, Zach. So this first headline, we got to get this off to a good laugh today, because this one, I almost died crying.
This one's a great one. Fight over man's flatulence forces flight to make emergency landing. A pilot made an emergency landing after a fight broke out over a passenger who allegedly refused to stop passing gas. 2 Dutchmen sitting next to the flatulent passenger reportedly asked the man to stop, but he refused and continued to break wind aboard the Transavia Airlines flight from Dubai to Amsterdam.
Okay, there's two. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, there's one thing of sitting there just passing gas nonstop, and then when somebody confronts you, just saying, "No, I don't want to."
No,
like
so
you know what I mean? Like
you have to be bad. It has to be bad enough though that you've done it enough that everybody knows it's you. Because he probably didn't stand up in the middle of the plane and go, "Hey, I did that. I did that."
It was obviously 2 people sitting next to him saying, "Hey, did you do that?" No, and the other guy just said, "No, I'm not stopping."
Right.
He didn't want to stop passing gas.
Maybe his stomach hurt.
I would go to the bathroom or something.
Right.
First things first, I love that the guy owned it. Because the first instinct is to just dodge it. That wasn't me. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And he was, no, that's me, and I'm not stopping. I love it.
See, I would at least dodged it. I wouldn't just be like, "No, I'm not stopping."
Right.
No, you just don't
let me be honest too. When you first read the headline, I was like, honestly, I was like, flagellants. I got to remember what that means. I'm not the smartest guy in the world either. And then I went, okay, I get it. Never mind. So, but yeah, I mean, he's a brave guy. Hey, there's not a lot of people in the world, much less the country, that can say they've actually had a plane land because they wouldn't stop farting on a plane.
That's true. Like that's almost like a good ownership, right? I mean,
a badge of honor.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I heard this, what I started thinking of is what we don't talk about, like just purely, what is respect? Like when I think about being respectful, when I think about being somebody who gives respect, earns respect, about being a respectable person, right? I was raised the old school way, that respect was utmost, right? Like, you couldn't walk up to two adults talking, and if you talked while two adults were talking, you were going to get backhanded.
As we say, get the taste slapped out of your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Getting the taste slapped out of your mouth.
Taste slapped out of your mouth. I never heard
And
that
then,
before.
yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, so no, sir. I still say it, and I'll say it to anybody. Like Zach is younger than me, but if Zach said some things, I would say yes, sir, or something.
Right.
I mean, that's just, these people that nowadays will go like, oh, I'm not a ma'am. I'm not old enough for that. Well, it's not about whether or not you're old or not. My parents taught us that you respect people in general, not just elders.
Right.
Not just
I do it to kids when I go with Miss Ava to school at lunch and stuff. If I see a little girl say something or a guy, yes sir,
Yep.
That's how to me that's how you're going to teach them to be respectful.
My dad taught me by purely if you didn't, it was yeah, what, and you got your
Right.
whooped. You know what I mean?
Taste slapped out of your mouth.
Yeah, you got the
Yeah.
taste slapped out. You didn't do it. You didn't mess up more than once. But I think the whole word of respect. I think when I look at it, because obviously this guy wasn't being respectful.
Right.
I mean, like, I
For
understand
sure.
you got go to the bathroom, do something. But we don't harp on respectful enough these days. We get in all these. Our country is as divided as it's ever been.
For sure.
And I think when you go into argument or you go into anything, instead of going to something with an argument, why not respect everybody's opinion? Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but respecting somebody. What is respect? What does that mean in today's world? Respect, because I feel like it's gone out the window.
I agree a lot, but when you really stop to me and think about respect, first and foremost, like the guy on the plane, this is a good example. How would you put yourself in everybody else's shoes first and foremost and really genuinely think about how you would feel if that was going on around you? Because, there's been times that we've all been in situations, maybe not like that, but in situations where you do something that wasn't respectful to everybody else around you, and you don't think about it. But when you stop and think, how did everybody else feel about it, And then you start talking and going through the different motions of thinking about, different groups of people, whether, it's a race thing or a sexual preference thing or anything to that nature, if it's not your preference, it doesn't mean you have to hate that person
You
or
don't have
dislike
to
that
hate
person.
it.
And,
Yeah.
and that's the way I look at just about anything. And I love culture. I love being around other cultures of people and seeing different things because just because you believe one thing doesn't mean we all may be wrong. Who knows?
Absolutely. I mean, I just look at it like it's just being a respectable person and respecting others first. But you got to start respecting yourself first.
For sure.
In a lot of today's world, people don't respect themselves. And until you respect yourself, you're not going to really be able to give respect to others. So you got to start with respecting yourself. But the certain things of the ma'am and sir and just the politeness and being somebody that is going to give respect to others, you're going to win in every part. If you're working a deal and you're respectful, if you're working a deal trying to close something down and you're saying I'm sorry, hold the door open for people. I believe in holding the door for a woman, right? That's how I was raised. I was
do the
raised
same
the
thing.
old school values. And so, an elder in general, I don't care if it's man or woman, if they're coming through the door, I'm going to hold the door open for them. Honestly, I don't care if they're male, a lot of times I'm going to hold the door for them just because it's a respectful thing. And I believe that in today's world, there's so many people that are living this whole like, I'm going to live me movement type
selfish,
thing.
yeah.
That respect is something that is looked at as weak.
For sure.
And I believe the weakest thing is not being respectable.
For sure. And putting other people first is a key to that when you start talking about being respectful. If you put other people before yourself, not only is it respectful, but I've learned the hard way when I started learning how to do that, it blesses you,
Yeah.
it really does. So
I mean, I don't get into this whole movement of parenting that, you be around these kids that they're just going crazy and the parents are like, this is what we do. We let them work. And man, that would never work in my world. My dad, you got shut down real fast with that. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to judge those parents because I haven't been there yet to know what is going to be done. But I can tell you that I'm going to try all I have to make sure my kid ain't running around like a hellion. Because respect is something that we need to bring back. Respect is something that needs to be put at the top of the priority list. I think a lot of our issues in the country in general would be fixed if respect enters back into people's lives. Would you agree?
absolutely.
So try to be respectful. Stop farting on everybody.
Don't shit on everybody.
You know
Quit
what I
shitting
mean?
on people.
Look, I give you credit, man. You owned it, but really, stop. A plane
That's
diverted.
greatness.
I would be in a fight too if the plane had to be diverted because the man wouldn't stop farting.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, whatever.
That's pretty funny. I don't care who you are. We'll come back here in a minute to a second segment of Second Shot.
He's a suit and tie kind of guy with deep Southern roots. Heath Oaks hosts more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
All right, so the last one was a good, funny episode. That kind of got us going, lightened up some, laughing a little bit. This next headline is one of those. It's a really old one. It's an old headline. But I thought it was I like to try to find things that grab me that can be some practical tips that people can take away as well. Not just a rah-rah speeching all the time, but like some practical things that people can walk away with and go, I can use that. And this next one was a super awesome one for me. It helped me in a big way, and it's one of Robert's biggest ones as well. So I figured it'd be a really good one because it was something that I had an issue with as well, that this, in general, concept really stuck with me. So go ahead and read that, Zach.
Right. This article first came up in 1974 in Harvard Business Review. In December, they released this. So it's old, but this is one of their most read of all time. It's popular, and it's because it still applies. Here's the headline. Management time, who's got the monkey? Confusing, I know, but let me kind of sum it up for you. Essentially, the article poses a situation and a resolution to it. The situation is this. Say a manager and an employee are walking up to each other in a hallway. They're going to pass each other. And as they're passing, the employee goes, hey, I had a question about a certain client or an account, and I wanted to ask if you knew anything about it. Can you help me out with it? And the manager's busy. He's managing. He's got stuff going on. He says, I don't have time to get to that right now, but I tell you what, let me figure out what I'm doing, and I'll get back to you on it. What they're proposing is essentially the employee just passed off responsibility onto the manager, and before you know it, now the manager has to answer to the employee. Now it's on the manager to figure it out and not the employee, and the manager has to check in with them and say, hey, I figured it out, and the employee will swing by, and how's that coming? You totally just switched roles. And that's the idea of the monkey on the back. Who's got the monkey?
Who's got the monkey? And it is the number one. I mean, time management is something that is probably in the top 3 all-time questions of how do I solve it, right? Most people say, how do I solve my time management? And this one thing right here, because you gotta understand, the thing is like for me, for instance, I get 600 to 700 people in my organization, okay? And a lot of people pull in a lot of different ways. And I used to get bogged down with trying to figure out what to attack and when to attack it. Sure. And a lot of times you'll find out that a lot of people don't really have something that they want you to actually do. They just are like asking you for the heck of it. And so you put things and get the monkey off the back. And so what I want to do is kind of give y'all some of those practical tips. And this was something Brian Tracy's one of the best as far as the old school people teaching time management. So, Eat That Frog and things of that nature is a book that is a really good one. But time management's key. And I think this is a key principle.
It is. It's probably one of my biggest struggles.
But has this probably been one of the most, this concept of monkey off the back been the number one thing that's helped it all?
Absolutely. So when you talk about time management, the first thing you got to do is sit down, in my opinion, and break down where you're spending every minute. So you're going to see where you're wasting a lot of time. And then the next piece is, right along pretty close to it, is really this, the proverbial monkey off your back. And it's tough sometimes for anybody because you create a habit of wanting to feel like you've got to do everything for everybody, and it's really not the case. And one of the things that Heath has showed me with that is put it in an email and send it to me, and let me take a look at it. And a lot of times, what I've found is a lot of times that probably 5 out of 10 of them will ever make it to me via email.
Well, so for instance, let's go back to what the monkey off the back. This scenario you read about, right?
Yeah.
That person. Let's do that real quick. You're the employee. I'm the employer. You
sure.
Say it to me.
Yeah. Hi, I had a problem with a client earlier today. I know you'd been talking to them on the phone recently. I just wanted to check in and see what their status was and where you're at with them.
I got you, Zach. I've got a meeting I got to go to. So if you'll email me and tell me the exact questions that you want me to answer, the things that you would want or need from that, when I get back in front of my computer and I see that email, I can reply to it.
And then
Okay.
So now the monkey's on your back
Yeah,
to do
it's
the
true.
next action.
Absolutely.
Because before it was left open to where the monkey was kind of on me.
Right.
So, but here's what's happened. 9 times out of 10, you never email me.
Right.
Because you really didn't have something. You just saw me in the hall and thought, oh, real quick, maybe I could
Totally.
get your tip, but you're in the middle of something.
Right.
So that was me getting the monkey off my back onto yours. So what happens a lot, because Robert and I, we drive a lot, we're on the road a lot, we're on the go.
Yeah.
One of the number one things that I did, that when people call and say, hey, I need your help with da-da-da-da, great, shoot me an email, and when I get to my email, I'll do it, because the email is a good solid checklist, right? I'm going to go through that, so it'll be a
Yeah.
reminder, because I would forget if I said, okay, yeah, I'll do that for you later.
Yeah.
Then I forget I'm in the road.
Right.
What am I
I'm
going to do to
terrible at
ting
that.
it? You know?
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And that's the toughest thing for me, is just make that habit of saying, hey, put it to me in email, or, even it may be something that they're asking you, slow down enough, like in your scenario you were talking about, Zach, slow down enough to go ahead and hear out what they have to say and say, hey, you need to go get with so-and-so or somebody else that's actually a part of that, instead of putting you put yourself in a middleman situation a lot too with that.
Well, but and what you can do a lot of that is say they shoot you the email.
Right.
And you get there and check the email. Then you could copy the person that you could say, hey, Bob, can you check into this for us? Now you got to move the monkey to Bob.
Right.
Okay, so you want to always have the monkey moving unless you're able to make it take it. Now, another great way to think about the monkey off your back is phone calls.
Phone calls.
It's a time sucker that here's what happens to a lot of people. They'll say, I'm getting backed up. I got so many voicemails to go through. I got so many text messages to get back to and all this and that. Well, what happens is when somebody calls you, the monkey's on your back. Here's what a lot of people do. They see the call. They could take the call, but they're like 5 minutes from an appointment, or they're about to walk into something, or they're in the middle of putting an email together or something, right? Nothing that is catastrophic that can't be held off to. But the problem is what happens is when they don't just go ahead and take them and address them, then they've got the monkey on their back. So what I try to do, and this was another deal with Robert, was saying, Robert, Robert's like, yeah, but I'm like 2 minutes from John's office, and so calls me, like I'm not going to be able to talk to him that much. I go, well, here's the problem. People go, somebody will call me and they'll just jab on forever instead of getting to it. I go, but here's the thing. All you got to do is answer and say, hey, just so you know, Zach, I only got 2 minutes before I walk into a meeting, but I wanted to take your call and address it. So what you got? What you've now done is started it by setting the precedent and said, I only got 2 minutes. So they're going to get straight to what they need.
Right.
And so then if they tell you you need to do something in that call, you say, shoot me that email or do whatever, keep on removing the monkey. Now you don't have that call along with 3 others that call you while you're in that meeting.
Right.
To call back. So you're starting to wear off that whole monkey off your back, because a lot of times you'll get a text message, you'll look at it and say, oh, I'll get back to you in a minute because I'm standing in line going to get a coffee or something, right?
Right.
You go ahead and address them.
Hey, by the way, this may be his number one pet peeve.
It is.
Have you heard? He just got on a soapbox. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
I
just
thought it was
sitting-
carts
I'm
in the
learning right
shopping.
now. I'm not saying a word. I'm like,
Shopping mall,
okay,
parking lot.
but and then the worst thing is I'm probably one of the top 5 worst of all time at all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough. I mean, and it's creating the habit. It's being disciplined enough to create the habit every day to continue to get better at it. And that's the bottom line.
And that's the thing is all it does is help you.
Sure.
When you get the monkey off your back,
Sure.
you're not sitting there at the end of the day with piles of things to
Right.
get back to.
Totally.
I mean, if you think about it, Zach, how many times do you have these phone calls and you don't answer them, and you go, I'm going to call them back later when you're
And you
not
never call
really
him
doing
back.
something
Or
that's...
you get caught up doing
Yeah.
something
No,
else.
you're absolutely
And see,
right.
what
yeah.
happens is it's the anxiety weighs on you because you got 4, 5, 6 of them, and you go, oh, I got to call them all back. Where if you'd just taken them and said, hey, I got 2 minutes, what you
Right.
got? People will get to the point, and then you're not doing it because a lot of people say, well, I don't want to, talk to them forever. But
Right.
what are some things you're doing, Robert, to kind of handle it?
My biggest thing is not ever, like I always say, under promise, over deliver. So I try, especially when you get like the question or you get to the point where the issue arises, is trying to listen through the whole issue and then point them in the direction to get their answer that they need. And then if I can't figure out, what the answer is they need, then I go to the put it in the email, just like you just said a minute ago. Maybe one of those things where you just stop it and go, hey, put it to me in an email. When I get the email, I can look at it and I can kick it to whoever it needs to go to. But being consistent is my is a kicker with that for me.
And see,
for
I
sure.
can go down the rabbit trail of the things I do after all of that to keep it in, but I honest to God think that if everybody just does the first part, this getting the monkey off your back, think
Yeah.
about the things that you take on, and if you're in the middle of something, give them a call to action to address you, because like we talked about in sales, smoke screen objections versus real ones, you're going to find out a lot of the things, a lot of those phone calls and a lot of those things that you ignore because you're going to wait till later and they pile up. You could just handle them then, and they're not, and you have them send you an email and they don't do it. It's a smoke screen help.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever someone's telling you they're behind and they can't catch up, this is probably 99.9% of the reason why.
Yeah. No, there's something
sure.
to that. Yeah,
Oh,
you guys you're making a lot of sense right now. Yeah.
Do you have somewhere where we can put a link to that article in show notes of some sort
Yeah.
or anything?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
On the SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Is that where they would go?
Yep.
So we're gonna Zach will put the link to this article in the SoundCloud deal, and it gets into more depth. But that's the overall concept, and I think it would be huge for you to go take the time to do it. If you're having a problem with time management, getting the monkey off your back would be, I think, the number one first step to helping that process in a massive
And then you can hit
way.
the Brian Tracy Eat That Frog book. I've
Yep.
got it on audiobook. I've had it for 4 years. I hate it sometimes, but it's a great read for that type of problem. It'll piss you off if you really have that problem, though.
Yeah,
I promise.
Robert listened to it, was all mad. So we'll come back here in a minute with some emails from the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Keith Oakes still to come.
Hear ye, great news for all of you guys. Colonial Life is hiring some salespeople from all over the country. No matter where you are in the United States of America, if you're looking for a sales career, if you want to just learn more about what Colonial Life does, send an email to mbeltran@coloniallife.com, mbeltran@coloniallife.com. We'll get you set up with the right people you need to talk to and see if you're going to win that job. If you're in the Metroplex area, great. If you're in St. Louis, great. We're going to have office there for you. mbeltran@coloniallife.com, and change your career today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
So Zach had a really good something he wanted to bring up, but we had to cut off the last episode. Kind of responding, keeping on that monkey off the back. What were you saying, Zach?
I'm definitely one of those people that will dodge a call. It's true.
Yeah.
Like, I got a lot going on right now. I'll get to that in a few minutes, and it just builds up. And you're absolutely right. And the thing I wanted to say about your idea of talking to somebody and being like, "Hey, I only got a couple minutes. Let's make this quick. What do you need? I want to take time to talk to you." It's respectful.
Yes.
You're letting them know, listen, I'm slammed, and they're professionals, they're probably slammed too, but I will put everything aside to take a couple minutes and talk to you. That free time I probably would use to check Facebook on my phone or go to the bathroom or whatever, you've got it. Whatever your problem is, I'm here, I'm listening, what's up? Like, it's effective.
So here's why you don't answer the call. Here's the psychology why you don't answer that call. Number one, somebody's calling you, you know they're going to jabber about a lot of things that you really don't care about for a little while, and you're going to have to be on the phone with them for a while, and you
Right.
dread it, okay?
Yeah.
That's what happens, and that's truth. Everybody can own that, because
Sure.
that's real.
Yeah.
Number two is like trying to end the call. You like somebody's in the middle of something, so we're going, oh, I got to go. You always feel like you're doing them wrong. Mm-hmm. So what it addresses is when they call, and you just say, hey, I got 2 minutes, you're respectful versus worrying about making them mad, because you don't have to cut them off because you already gave them the heads up right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
So it's addressing it.
to tee that up even more, when you don't get back with them or you wait to get back with them, then they call somebody else and go, man, I can't ever get this person on the phone.
Sure.
And they're going to lose a lot of respect for you in the same regard. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch-22.
I got to remember this. Next time I talk to one of you guys on the phone,
One
hey, I only got a couple minutes. Yeah, I got to go. But yeah.
But here's the thing. That's one little thing. If everybody can take just the idea of monkey off the back, make sure the monkey's not on your back, you will reduce your anxiety and stress in so many ways. It's unreal.
Sure.
Get the monkey off your back. So, one thing we had to really want to give a shout out to a listener, Jeff here. Send us an email. He was one of the guys that sent about his son that did the paper on revenge a while back.
Yeah, his son wrote a paper for school about revenge and whether or not it can ever really be justified. And it actually made for a really cool third segment of the show.
Yeah.
He's getting back to us about that and had another topic.
Yeah, he just wanted to give us kind of an update on that his son got an 80 on the deal, and he thought his son could have put more into it, but got an 80, so it's a B. I mean, heck,
Hey.
I'd have died for a B. B was good for me. But
Yeah, I'll take a B any
his
day
son's
of the week.
probably a little more intelligent than I was. But what I thought was neat, too, is he said he had a topic. He said on an email came out that the high school principal was going to the assistant athletic director. No big deal, right? But a few hours later, the Dallas Morning News came out that the same principal was recently arrested for a second DWI in the last 6 years. And he said, I have no idea what happens next for this gentleman, but he said, I thought there was really 3 ways that he could do this. 1, completely hide from it, act like it never happened. 2, play the victim and blame it on stress and responsibilities. 3, take ownership and use it as a learning moment for himself. And he said, I told my wife he should choose 3 and hold an assembly, tire staff, bring in MAD, families impacted by drunk driving, let the kids see the impact in families. But then his wife said initially that it was a personal matter and that he didn't have to and probably wouldn't address it. He disagreed with his wife, so basically saying, what are y'all's thoughts on this?
Well, to me, go back to from the very beginning when we talked about people having differences of opinion. First of all, between a husband and wife, it's okay to have it.
They obviously are being very respectful,
right? So it's you have the right. I think it's really what whoever the coach or what the principal. I think it's really on him where he feels in his, in the inside of what he should do.
But if it was you in that situation, what would you do?
I would probably get in front of everybody because you're a major influence in young people, a lot of young people's lives.
Because you see what his wife is saying, which is that's a personal matter, and then this is work. He shouldn't have to address his personal issues at work.
Absolutely, but he's got a ton of young people that look up to him in certain ways that he owes them an explanation, in my opinion. That's my opinion. If he doesn't feel that in his heart that he does,
right,
it's on him.
I think he's on a very public stage, and you need to be able to say, okay, what do I do when I've clearly made a public mistake in a position like this one? I don't know what the answer is, and I'm afraid what I would do probably wouldn't be as noble as what you guys would do. I would probably just say nothing and hope it all goes away, which is terrible.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I here's where I'm at. I'm in the middle of him and his wife. I think that he should take ownership and address it. I don't think he needs to go as far as an assembly with bringing in MAD and family victims and all of those things. And my reasoning behind that is this, is that you see a lot of people do that. Michael Vick gets out from the dog killing stuff, and then he's like going out being with all the, rescue dogs and stuff. And it's like, look, it almost seems like that's forced.
Kind of staged,
when you go from when one day you get arrested for drunk driving and 2 days later you're all of a sudden going out and volunteering at MAD, like your heart didn't change that fast, really, right? I mean, so like I don't know if you got to go that far. I do always believe in extreme ownership, and I do think it's different for him versus others because he is a high school principal and has an impact. So I believe he needs to come out and own it. And look, maybe in years from now, as he goes through his recovery of whatever it is, he gets involved in the organizations to help and give back. But like, own it and say, I got to get help, and I'm getting help, and this happened to me and whatnot. But the worst thing in the world, I believe, with anything is to try to cover it up.
Well, I think, but you know what? I think that's a big problem when we go talking about in general today. Is there's a lot of people out there that try to hide things. Go to church Sunday morning and race everybody down to the liquor store on Sunday. Right after church. But at the end of the day, you're right. You got to own it. But most people won't, and it takes a lot of courage to stand in front of, or get on, some sort of public platform and say, hey, I messed up, I made a mistake, this is what I've done. Now I've done this twice. All I can do is apologize and tell you I'm going to make it right, but then
he's got to prove with his actions
and prove with your actions.
That's why I don't think you got to go as far as doing the assembly, bringing Matt in, doing all that. I think that's too far, too quick. But like, for instance, they've already screwed up because all they did was say, basically, they knew this Dallas Morning News article was coming out about it.
Right.
And so they say, hey, we're going to move him to assistant athletic director without saying why, right?
Right.
So then all the parents find out, Dallas Morning News, that this is the deal. So it's like, now you've already screwed up because now it looks like you already covered it
You're
up.
corroborating.
So
you're helping him.
Yeah. So what you should have done was in an email saying, hey, I'm going to assistant athletic director. I've made another mistake and blah, blah, blah. That shit already came out. Like because here's what happens. Now parents are going to go deeper diving into you and your personal life because it seems like you're covering up a whole lot of stuff.
Well, also you went from one person owing some sort of explanation now to a whole school
district because the school district didn't make
it.
Like if I was a school district, I would say you have to own it. If you don't own this, if you don't put a statement out there owning this, to the
direct reflection on the school district.
Yeah, because now it makes the school district look stupid. Because now they sent out a deal. It was basically trying to hope, but like they knew it was coming out because obviously 6 hours later the Dallas Morning News article comes out. So obviously they timed that perfectly.
We had no idea. Okay.
But so he just was magically moving from one to the other.
Right.
So I believe the ownership aspect is what you have to do every single time. I think without a doubt, trying to cover things up, hoping they go away, they never do.
Right.
It turns that anthill into a mountain.
Right, mountain of a molehill. It's easy to try to just act like nothing
Hey.
happened. That's the easy way out. Yeah, but that's not the right way out. That's the thing. You got to do the right thing in a situation like
Get
this.
the monkey off your back, right?
Well, yeah, this is the perfect scenario of this too. Is Andy Pettit? Nobody ever thinks of Andy Pettit and the steroid issue.
He was.
But why nobody ever? Everybody thinks
We've said
Sammy
this before.
Sosa,
yeah.
Mark.
He's the only one that owned it.
He owned it immediately. Had a teleconference, owned it, moved off. Nobody talks about him, but everybody still talks about Barry Bonds and all them because they have consistently denied it. And so what you don't understand is that when you don't own something, all it does is make people dig deeper and deeper and deeper into you and your past, and you don't want a lot of things coming up.
Right.
So, Jeff, I think I play in the middle of you and your wife. I believe in owning it. I don't know if I'd go as far as doing, a mad thing and all of that. I think that I would just own it, and I would have put that out there ahead of time.
And Jeff, a happy wife is a happy life. Y'all can
Yeah,
meet in
just
the middle.
agree
Y'all
with
can
her.
meet in the middle. 2 is a good spot
Just
to meet.
agree with her, whatever it is, and you'll work out
Right.
better. So,
Just say yes.
but thanks for coming on this show. And where can we find you, Robert?
You can find me at Robert Halbert on LinkedIn. I am a social media guru on LinkedIn. That's it. And that's a joke.
And he's not even a guru on LinkedIn. Don't let him lie to you.
I'm
about
not.
it. But you know where to find me at Heath Oaks or at Ignorance on Fire. Zach, Matt, thank you guys. Love y'all. Love the listeners. We'll see y'all next time.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.